Hello everybody, how's it going? Today I want to show you 7 things that are not that obvious or well explained in the game and that hopefully will help new players making their first steps in Mechwarrior Online. Number 1. If you want some easy Siebels, then just finish the in-game tutorial. There are several achievements to be unlocked which grant you round about 3 million Siebels. All you need to do is just follow the instructions of Captain Adams and you are fine. On top of that, there are 3 tiny movement challenges in the tutorial area where you can earn additional 2 million Siebels. All you need to do is to be fast enough to finish the parkour until the timer reaches 1 minute and 30 seconds. However, you need to be in the Thunderbolt 9S, which you can get in the tutorial area, and after a few runs you should be able to beat the timer and get a lot of Siebels out of it. Number 2. If you want more mech base, then play some faction play games. There are 10 different factions and a mercenary career which grant you free stuff as you are leveling them up. As you can see, the second rank already grants you a mech bay. However, the next one will be given to you at rank 6, which is a bit more effort. But the good thing is that every faction gives you the mech bay at rank 2, so switching them could be a possibility to get some mech base in a very short amount of time. So if you are in a small unit or in your own solo unit with no special faction allegiance, all you need to do is to choose the mercenary career and sign a contract to one of the available factions that you are fine with. These contracts only have a duration of 1 week, so you can switch them every week, play some faction war games, get to rank 2 and then grab yourself a mech bay. Number 3. Heatsinks in the legs are working more efficiently when you are standing in water. However, this is mostly interesting for clan or the 2C mechs, because usually you want to have double heatsinks in your mech and the inner sphere variants don't fit in the legs. But if you're going for a 2C or clan mech, you might as well put them into the legs, because you never know when you are standing in the water and need some extra cooling. Number 4. Speaking of double heatsinks, they should be called 1.4 times heatsinks. As you can see in this tooltip, they only give a 40% bonus on the efficiency. However, that only applies to the external heatsinks. You get the double efficiency in the heatsinks that come in the engine. I have a 300 engine here that brings 10 internal heatsinks and therefore an overall heat efficiency of 1.03. Now let me take out that one and put another engine with less internal heatsinks into my mech, and I fill it up with external heatsinks to get to 10 again, and now you can see that the overall heat efficiency dropped to 0.97. Now I have the same amount of heatsinks with less performance, and I also used up more slots. So if you can bear the weight, try to get as much internal heatsinks as possible. The higher the engine rating gets, the more heatsinks come with it. However, there is a cap at 10 heatsinks in the engine rating of 250. From there on, every single one brings 10 internal heatsinks for your mech. Number 5. The missile hardpoints of most inner sphere mechs have a limit on missile tubes. So let's take that Victor for example. As you can see, it has 17 missile tubes which are spread over 3 hardpoints. For this example I took 3 LRM-10 which fire 10 missiles each shot. Now the problem is that they need to squeeze all the 10 missiles through a 10 tube hardpoint, a 5 tube hardpoint and a 2 tube hardpoint. Let me show you on the battlefield what that means. I can fire my 10 tube hardpoint and all missiles are flying at the same time. But when I fire the smaller hardpoints, the missiles will fly in clusters of 5 missiles, or even in a stream of 2 missiles when I fire my smallest hardpoint. That may sound not that problematic, but the cooldown of your weapon only starts when the weapon has finished firing. As you can see in the lower right corner of the recharge bar, my third LRM-10 takes a lot longer to finish. Now I'm holding down the first and third button of my mouse and try to get as much volleys out as possible. And as you can see, I can fire 3 volleys of my 10 tube hardpoint while only firing 2 volleys of the 2 tube hardpoint. So if you want to deal more damage, then put the right missile weapon into the right missile hardpoint. Number 6. Have you ever wondered why some mechs are so hard to bring down even after you remove their armor? Because they have a lot of internal structure hit points. Let me show you how they are calculated. The hit points of the internal structure of a component is the maximum armor in that component divided by 2. So the center torso of our Atlas here has a maximum armor rating of 124. That divided by 2 gives him additional 62 hit points after the armor is removed, no matter how much armor you actually put onto it. The same rule applies to every other component. On top of that, some mechs have additional structure quirks. Body Atlas here has a bonus of 31 hit points on the center torso. That roughly makes 200 hit points in the center torso with armor and structure combined. Have fun grinding through that. Number 7. When you are shooting at a destroyed component, the damage will transfer to an adjacent component. That means shooting a destroyed arm will damage the side torso, and if the side torso is also destroyed, it will damage the center torso. The same applies to the legs. I will show you by destroying the leg of this awesome here. When I now continue shooting at the leg, you can see that the damage is transferred to the side torso. However, it will be reduced by 60%, so only 40% are coming in, and I show you another example which is more important by shooting off the arm here. The arm is now destroyed and I'm continuing firing on the stump to show you that there's only a little amount of damage coming in the side torso. And that is one of the main defensive strategies in the game. Twist your side torso towards the enemy while your weapons are on cooldown, because then you will take less damage. The damage will transfer only at a rate of 40%. So let me show you it from this angle. Use your broad side torso to shield your center torso. That's very important. The most interesting thing about it is that the damage reduction stacks. I'm shooting the arm of a destroyed side torso here. So the damage will be transferred from the arm to the side torso on a 60% reduced rate, and that damage will then be reduced again and is finally applied to the center torso. And that means that my weapons deal almost no damage to the center torso from that angle. So these were 7 tips for new players, and I hope you learned something today. And for all the experienced players who are watching this, I would like to hear what you find interesting in the game that is worth sharing. So please leave a comment and share some of your knowledge and experience for all the aspiring mech warriors out there. And if you are a new pilot and want more of these tutorials or gameplay videos, just subscribe to the channel. I give you daily Mechwarrior Online content, and I hope to see you on the battlefield, everybody. Goodbye.